Welcome to Sportwrap Saturday with Ashwin, Betty, and Diana Master, making sure you get the very latest sports news, of course, starting in Namibia, and then we just take you throughout the globe.
Exactly.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's another wonderful weekend for sport.
Yeah.
We start off with some rugby. We're going to be covering rugby today, NTV. These are the games that you can expect to check out with regards to our live coverage. So FNB Wanderers versus FNB Rio Falcon will be live on NTV from 3:30 p.m. and we're going to do our build-up from 3 p.m. to make sure that you know exactly what's going on with regards to that game. Now, with regards to Irongo, the other game that you can expect to see is going to be the Kudus versus Dolphin. That's a coastal clash. Dolphin freshly into the NRU Premier League. Kudus with plenty of experience. But you know, something about being neighbors brings out the best in you. So those are the two rugby games that you can check out on the Irongo page as well as on NTV. But without further ado, let's head to the hit list.
Yes. So, of course, last week we were talking about futsal. We even gave you a little rundown on how the rules of futsal work. So now we actually get into the results.
Yes. Of course, let's first look at the results from the week before we get into our story of the week. Egypt getting the best of Libya 4-0. Namibia's Brave 5 unfortunately falling to Mauritania 4-5. We'll be talking more about that game in particular. And the other game that took place with regards to futsal, the other games rather, with regards to futsal, just waiting for them to hit the screen for you. It's Ghana versus Zambia. Zambia beating Ghana 5-2 and Morocco beating Angola 5-2. Inverse scores there. Very interesting.
Very interesting. All right, so now getting straight into it. Mauritania edge fellow debutants Namibia in 9-goal thriller. The Morabitans of Mauritania marked their first ever Total Energies CAF Futsal AFCON match with a scintillating 5-4 victory over Namibia in Group B. The two newcomers put up a show at the magnificent Prince Mulai Abdullah Hall on Friday night at the ongoing 7th edition of the tournament. The West Africans had a nervous finish to the match as Namibia staged a late fight back to score 4 goals in the second half. Now the Brave Fives pulled a goal back courtesy of captain Ken Salote's fierce drive from distance to beat Imam Saf in the Mauritania goal.
Entertaining game. I mean, wow. I mean, look at the amount of goals we're talking. We're talking about 9 goals, but something has to be said for the Brave five of Namibia. I mean, you're down 5 goals by halftime and you managed to fight back with 4 goals.
That was definitely impressive, hey?
Definitely impressive.
Because it's not something easily done. It's not something easily achievable to come back up from being, 5 goals down.
Yes, and I mean, of course, the shaky start to that game could be credited to some nerves settling into the tournament. But what we do know is they absolutely have the potential to battle it out with the best in Africa. That's the Brave Five. So we'll see how the CAF Futsal tournament goes on. Now, tonight is going to be some boxing, and you'll also be able to check that out on NTV from 7 p.m. It's AC Boxing Promotions, and this is what you can expect. They're hosting a boxing tournament of top-class entertainment at the Roman Catholic Hall in Windhoek. Now, before the main pre-fight between Walter Kotondokwa and Simeon Shafodino, Shaya will also perform, as well as King D, who will deliver a performance. Now, that's before Flame Nangolo and Jeremiah Mere approach the ring for the main fight. Now, Jeremiah and Special One came to the NTV studios for a bit of an interview and a square-off. Have a look.
I think my preparation was very fine and I haven't sustained any injury or anything. Everything was all well. I did everything I was supposed to do for this fight, so I'm just ready for tonight.
I hope you are ready tonight, my friend, because I'm going to put you down. Let's hope we are ready. Yeah. I don't have anything to say, but mark my words. So coming tonight, yeah. You're going to see Chingo the Master.
I mean, I knew him a while ago. I've watched some of his fights, even his last fights that he fought a few times back. I've watched it and I've seen how he fights. So there's nothing special. There's nothing to be scared about. It's like an amateur boxer who's coming up, trying to prove himself in the ranks. And for me, I'm just gonna do what I always do, is to show my skills and just to dominate everything. And as you know, what I bring to the table, I bring a lot of skills, and you already know about me. You don't need to be told what I'm gonna do, but what you can expect from me is a good win and put up a tremendous fight, and that's what I'm gonna do. So there's nothing really that scares me coming from your mouth. I mean, since I was 6 years old, a little kid, everybody used to say that. And I've been fighting bigger guys when I was 6. I remember my first fight was my first amateur fight. I fight somebody who had a lot of fights and I didn't have no experience. So leading up to this, it just added more motivation to me on what I'm gonna bring to the table tonight.
Really, amateur. You see me, don't worry. That's why I say, I don't talk here, but you're going to see me. So you call yourself special, not to me. Yeah, you are not special to me. So I'm going to prove you. Mimi ndo kana chiwana mafights ako, ndo kana ndichiwana mafights ako. Saka hapana chinoshamisia kwa uri. You call yourself special, but me and the Jingo, small body but big engine. So
in his previous fight, now, he fought few times back. I was watching his fight very closely, and there is a lot of weaknesses, I can tell you. So mind you, Saturday night, I'm gonna capitalize on them, and I'm very sure about them. He doesn't know what's coming. Trust me, you don't know what's coming.
yeah, boxing, my friend. This is boxing. You want to come and knock me, but I'm going to give you a tough fight.
But you're not gonna win.
I'm going to win.
You're not gonna win.
This is boxing.
You're not gonna win.
Yeah, those gentlemen are not holding back.
They're not holding back.
Yes.
Both of them are very confident
Yes.
in their skills.
Absolutely. I mean, if you notice, Jeremiah, they broke into his mother tongue. You know, sometimes you can't fully express yourself
In English.
You know, there's a saying that says English came to Africa on a ship and some of it fell in the water. So you want to sometimes just dig deep into the ancestral tongue and
So
say
that
what
people
you need
can
to say.
fully understand,
Fully
the
understand.
depth of your words.
Absolutely. I mean, Special One is promising to knock out Jingle Master. That's his name, the Jingle Master. So we'll see how that one transpires. It's going to be live on NTV from 7 p.m. And during the wrap-up show, we'll bring you the interview that I had with Ems Moses talking about tonight's bouts.
Well, we're definitely excited for that. All right, now into some more exciting news, right? Colin Benjamin is in the running for COSAFA Men's Coach of the Year award. Yes, that's right. The head coach of the Brave Warriors has been nominated for the COSAFA Men's Coach of the Year award. Benjamin assured the role of head coach for the Braves in 2022. Now, one of his notable accomplishments with the team was their 2-1 victory over African powerhouse Cameroon in a pivotal moment in their qualification for the 2023 Total Energy AFCON held in January and February this year. Under his leadership, the Warriors reached the round of 16, marking a historic first for Namibia. Benjamin did share his thoughts on the nomination with the NFA media, and he said, in his own words, I am personally honored to be acknowledged for the team's accomplishments at a regional level and extend my gratitude to the main contributors, the players, for their unwavering dedication and effort in representing Namibia. I also express appreciation to the technical staff for their relentless work with the team. Our aim is to maintain our diligent efforts and strive for even greater success.
Spoken like a coach, fantastic. I mean, look, you have to give him credit without playing any home games. No home games. And you know, home ground advantage is a thing. You know what I mean? You manage to cultivate an atmosphere that really supports the players, and to manage to qualify to AFCON in such a manner, to manage to not have a terrible AFCON, you know what I mean? Because that's generally what's expected when a team is this fresh onto that stage. I think Colin Benjamin definitely deserves his flowers. Now, it's not just him getting his flowers from COSAFA. I see COSAFA evaluates players' performances for both their club and national teams, and it has honored those who have excelled. Now, some of these guys are Bafana Bafanas, Percy Tau, Mamelodi Sundowns, and Namibia's Peter Shalulile, Captain Fantastic, and Zambia's Lamek Banda. Now, the trio's stellar performance this season has elevated them above their regional counterparts, securing their place at the top. Truly, truly incredible to see these nominations. I mean, Peter Shalulile, of course, he was hoping for a much better Africa Cup of Nations, but we have to be honest, it's the man with the arrow that got us there.
Yeah,
We're not there without him, and you know, those are efforts worth appreciating. And if you just Google Peter Shalulile Mamelodi Sundowns, you're just seeing records.
Just records, just breaking records.
He does it on a weekly basis. He makes history for a living. You know, he's a special guy, and it's good to see him appreciated along with his coach at the COSAFA Awards.
Definitely. And you know, he actually finished as a top joint top scorer in the South African League during the 2022-2023 season, and contributed to Mamelodi Sundowns securing their 6th consecutive championship.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Now, speaking of people who know something about winning championships, Tiger Woods seems to be back, you know, and that's a real story in the golfing world, because you know, a lot of people have been dreaming for that day. I know, you know, wrestling fans were very happy last weekend when The Undertaker came out. Something about your childhood was defined by the people who played that sport. And same thing with golf. Tiger Woods, he just permeates, his aura permeates throughout the entire golfing world. And he had certainly taken a slump, whether it's age, he actually had some back injuries to deal with, and it seems like he's back, because there's much as he's not won, not as much as as if he's not won enough already at Augusta National. He added his name yet again to the Masters record book with his 24th consecutive made cut at the major. Woods has never missed a Masters cut as a professional, and now the 48-year-old sits alone atop the record list at Augusta National with one more consecutively made cut than fellow Masters champions Gary Player and Fred Couples. So here is Tiger Woods looking to win after the new record, and DeChambeau relishing his head-to-head with Scheffler at the Masters.
I'm here. I got a chance to win the golf tournament. I don't know if they're all going to finish today, but I'm done. I got my 2 rounds in. Just need some food and some caffeine. I'll be good to go. Yeah. I mean, I think that I will be able to, as soon as I'm done with you guys, be able to text Freddie and give him a little needle.
I'm very excited. I get an opportunity to show my skill set, and hopefully it's good enough to do something special this weekend. I feel like the game's in a great spot. Mindset's in a solid place. Caddy's keeping me in check. We're joking out there, having fun in some tough conditions. So I feel like everything's lining up pretty well. Just got to make sure my lag putts are doing well, and striking it well off the tee. That's all that matters. If I can do those things, I think I'll have put myself in a good place.
Hey, it's good to have him back. Like you're saying, something about having your childhood. I don't want to say idol, but like icon, you know?
Yes,
when you speak golf, all we knew was Tiger Woods, to be honest.
I mean, it's some people say rightfully he's the greatest of all time. I mean, you can try and debate. There have been debates that have been had, but you know, the more technical the debates go, the more you're like, okay, we're avoiding the obvious.
It is what it is.
And to see him come back is absolutely phenomenal. Let's see what he does. The Masters are fully underway, and he has an opportunity to make history, which he has been doing since he was a teenager.
and nothing can stop him. He's unstoppable.
Oh yeah, no. Tiger
So
Woods
many-
tends to. No one can stop Tiger Woods except for Tiger Woods.
Except for Tiger
Yes.
Woods. Once
So-
he decides, then.
It's that time.
Now moving over to some Formula One news. In 2025, Formula One will feature a 24-race schedule, with Australia hosting the opener for the first time since 2019. The calendar maintains the same circuits as 2024, but with some changes in timing and order. Notably, Bahrain and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix have been moved to April due to Ramadan. Australia, previously scheduled for 2020 but cancelled due to the pandemic, will now host the opener on March 14th to 16th, coinciding with Lewis Hamilton's debut with Ferrari. Now, the season celebrates the 75th anniversary of the FIA Formula One World Championship.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Of course, the calendar, I mean, a little bit mixture of dates there. We're actually talking about April, but the Formula One calendar is out. And for people, I think it's, as a Formula One fan, I'm not one. There's someone in the studio with us who's an actual Formula One fan. You always want to pick their brains because, there's this place where Verstappen is definitely dominating, right? But he also has the best car.
Yes.
But also you have to be good in order to use the best car.
True.
But I think where the real friction came through was in that last championship that people believed belonged to Lewis Hamilton. And, look, the changeover in Formula One has never really been rough cut. There's been a little bit of space from Ayrton Senna to Michael Schumacher, and then there was a bit of a gap, and then Lewis Hamilton. But between Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen was a direct clash. And you can tell where Verstappen is trying to take this, and you can tell what Lewis Hamilton is trying to maintain. Well, not maintain really, but he's at this stage, he's just trying to make sure that he has everything that his legacy seems to have been going towards. So it is very interesting to observe, and we're going to see how the calendar goes. Is it going to be any different? Will Verstappen dominate again, or are we going to be seeing some wins from the other teams? Now, this week was a magical week for European football. I mean, the goals were flying all over the place. Let's first look at the Champions League results. Woof. Tuesday, it was Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. This was at Arsenal 2-2. Arsenal first taking the lead with 1 goal, Bayern Munich scoring 2 goals, and then Arsenal Arsenal got to the lead there, and it was the work of Juan Trossard, that German man.
He's fantastic.
Not German, Belgian.
He's fantastic.
Wow, he's fantastic to watch, especially in clutch moments when you need him the most. He's really fantastic. Let's keep looking at those Champions League results. It's Madrid versus Manchester City. High scoring game, high flair. And people are now saying, is Manchester City still Haaland's, or is it time to hand it over to Foden?
And it's definitely not Haaland's anymore, because he was nowhere to be seen in that match.
And do you know how hard it is to disappear when you're that tall?
And that blonde.
And people can't find you.
There was actually a debate going on. Usually we were seeing it was always Ronaldo versus Messi. So now people were saying, is it now Haaland and Mbappe's turn? Are they the new Messi
Absolutely
and Ronaldo?
Not. It's not a competition.
No.
Mbappe has a World Cup. Mbappe faced Messi and all the players of Argentina in the last World Cup, and he almost won. So I don't believe it's the same thing. No. Haaland has cracked under pressure after just 1 full strong season. Not to toot my own horn, 0 shots against Arsenal throughout the year. And so it's not looking good. This is not to say he's not an exceptional finisher, but the problem is that position is asking for more. In this day and age, he worked for the previous Manchester City system before everyone else seemingly figured out how they're attacking. And now people need him to be a little more flexible.
Yes.
And honestly, he's kind of reminding me of Ketia from Arsenal with his presence, where you're not really seeing him. You will see some golden moments from him, but ultimately he looks like people have figured him out.
I think, like you're saying, he's definitely comfortable in the way he plays.
He was comfortable until he stopped scoring. Yeah.
Until he stopped scoring.
Yes,
so it's definitely...
Yeah, and that comfort came from one Kevin De Bruyne. It's just that simple. You have the best midfielder in the world. We can argue, but let's not talk about
let's
it.
just
It is what... And even with the Foden thing, you can say Foden's the new goal scorer. That team is Kevin De Bruyne. He's the cornerstone. He's the captain. He drives the football in that team. So, I mean, maybe Haaland picks it up. He's obviously got the ability to do so. But, time is ticking, brother. So let's look at the rest of those Champions League results. Yes, Dortmund, my goodness, falling to Atletico Madrid. Atletico had that one in the bag. Now, a fast-paced, high-scoring game, Barcelona versus Paris Saint-Germain, and Barcelona.
Yeah, hey?
Yo.
Yeah, hey?
I was watching that game and I said, I do not want to see these gentlemen at any point in time, not in the morning, not in the afternoon, not in the night. They move fast, they're assertive, they're young, they're intelligent. It was quite the game to watch. But these games will continue. Of course, the second leg is going to be next week. And yes, you are playing PSG, but you are playing Mbappe.
You are playing Mbappe.
And here is the reality. Mbappe can have a bad game. That's understandable.
Yeah.
But if Mbappe is having a good game in Barcelona, there's nothing you can do, in my opinion.
And you know what, hey? What's actually funny is the fact that they were required to close off the Bernabeu just to get that noise.
Oh yeah,
up.
they wanted to close it up
You
just
know,
to give it an
just to get
Anfield
the,
vibe as
the
well.
atmosphere, but still, like
It wasn't enough.
it wasn't
It
enough.
wasn't enough, yeah. Speaking of not enough, let's look at Europa. You are going to be shocked by some of these results. Yes, that is the actual Liverpool logo. That is not a fake. That is not an AI-generated image. That is Liverpool 0, Atalanta 3, AC Milan 0, Roma 1. Interesting result over there. Leverkusen doing what they do, 2-0 against West Ham. By the way, Leverkusen with an opportunity to win the Bundesliga this very weekend. Benfica versus Marseille 2-1. Strong outing there from Benfica. But let's talk about what we need to talk about. Let's talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about what happened there.
I mean, they were, some of them saying that, oh, Liverpool, I don't want to say through the game, but basically.
Yeah, then I watched the game.
Yeah.
I watched the game. They had about 20 shots in the first half. That's not someone who's trying to bottle the game. Sorry. And so we were faced now with the reality, which I had hinted at last week.
Yeah.
When Liverpool drew with Manchester United, the quality of football did not say champion. It just did not. And Klopp went on afterwards to say that if Manchester United had played that way against Arsenal, they would have definitely lost to Arsenal. So he understood that there was a bit of a lack in what they're doing in their system right now. Now, Atlanta was not playing in Italy. This is at Anfield, one of, if not the most feared stadium in the world. So the support is there, but
the skill just wasn't.
Kuraf.
The skill just wasn't there. And you know what? What was funny to see was the fans of Atlanta.
Yeah.
They were also in a way like surprised, like, wait, that happened?
We're in Anfield. You know, you're expecting to go, you know, if you're expecting to win, it's 1-0. 3-0 is clear.
It's ridiculous. And like you're saying, I mean, we were speaking on whether Liverpool needed to be perfect for the remainder of the season. The answer is yes, but we're not saying perfection.
We're not saying perfection. Now, here's the other thing. So, yes, we were talking about some people saying that, you know, Liverpool, if they knock out of Europa now, it's not yet done. Still a second leg to be played in Italy. But if they're out, it means that they've got more legs for the Premier League. And I'd like to tell you right now, Arsenal also left Europa in shady circumstances. It did not look like we were trying at that game. We did not take our best to that game. And we still did not win the league. Even though Manchester City had more games, Manchester City won the treble. They were part of everything. And then I realized it's, aside from injuries, it's no longer about that. It's actually now about how much can you maintain your form. And so it seems like the teams who are playing well and playing more are going to actually continue to dominate in the Premier League. There's actually not going to be any fatigue because they aren't resting. And it's a title race. It's a few games left. So their form seems to be maintained. And that's what we are seeing, of course. This weekend might tell us what it wants to tell us when we talk, and we'll talk about the Premier League games a little later on the show. But yeah, that's how it's currently looking with regards to Champions League and Europa. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, it's time to build up to the rugby.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
All right, so as you know, NTV makes sure that you get every single pertinent game from the NRU Rugby League, and today is yet another day for some very potent clashes as the teams are starting to establish themselves. Are you excited, Anna?
I'm definitely excited. I'm looking forward to the action this weekend because last week there was a lot of action. I mean, the results were surprising.
For themselves, yes. I mean, yes, Grootfontein, I mean, at least managing to win that last game by a very slim margin. They want to avoid that kind of closeness, but these are the results from last week. Grootfontein won 16, Rehoboth won 8, Kudus 17, United won 8, UNAM 46. Yikes! Dolphins 0, Western Suburbs 7 with Wanderers on 44. So there's a lot of work to be done today. Let's have a look at the games that we're going to be broadcasting today. It's just to see the teams there. It's Wanderers versus FNB Rehoboth Falcon. Now, Rehoboth Falcon, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have a game last week. I stand corrected. But FNB Wanderers had a very strong outing against Western Suburbs. So now we're going to have to see if Wanderers can maintain that form. Because, of course, they're looking to do that. Wanderers are the previous champions, and the reigning champions previous makes it sound like it's done. It's done. It's a foregone, like an old situation. But really, they are the reigning champions. They did not have a solid game against UNAM. They lost that game, and of course, they're going to be wanting to, improve on that. Home games, you have to get the home games out of the way. And if you've ever been to Wanderers, my oh my.
Yeah.
That support.
That atmosphere is intense. I mean, it's enough to shake up anyone, like any competitor.
Yes, of course. That said, the gentlemen from Rehoboth don't get shook by a lot. They don't get shaken up by a lot. They couldn't care less. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at the Grootfontein games, it wasn't Rehoboth Falcon, but it was Rehoboth. Rehoboth itself winning just about every other game except for the main game, which showed, their caliber and their away game means nothing. And of course, Rio Falcon is usually, neck and neck, at least with regards to their chemistry. So we'll see how Wanderers will do against Rio Falcon at Wanderers. That's the game you're going to be showing. We'll cross over there shortly. But the other game that's going to be happening at the coast, covered by Rongo Sports, that is Dolphins and Kudus. Listen, Dolphins are fresh in the league. Fresh, Diana. Fresh. Not as fresh as they look, but fresh in the league. And they're trying to, put a stamp, you know what I mean? Their signature to say, we are here now. Kudus, they've got some significant experience now. Before we go ahead, let's look at, again, the results from last week, just so we can kind of get an understanding of where these two teams are coming from. This is regards to Dolphins and Kudus as we look at the results from last week. It was Kudus getting the best of United 17-8, and Dolphin lost to UNAM 46-0.
All right. So, looking at these results, right, and just going back to what you said about Dolphins being first. Last week, we were preaching about how, the season just started. Everyone is also still trying to find their footing. Everyone is still trying to find what strategies work for them. But today's game, in all honesty, it's going to be interesting to watch, to say the least.
Because it's hometown. This is the coast. You know what I mean? If you're complaining about the weather, we all know the weather. Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be sunny? It doesn't really matter. But the people are the same. The communities are the same. There's no such thing really as a home ground advantage. And so they're really going to be battling it out. And, you know, it's a different story. Look, I say this about Manchester United all the time. They won't show up for most of the season. But against Liverpool, against Arsenal, they turn into Madrid. Something happens. Of course, we're not talking about the 8-0 loss to Liverpool, but we mean like since then.
Since then.
And before then. In general. So I think it's going to be the same, you know, with Dolphins and Kudus. Yes, the Kudus, I mean, we can't pretend that they do not have a significant advantage with regards to experience, with regards to just the fact that as a team, as the management, they've gone through these paces and they've competed very well. I don't believe there's any team that feels fully comfortable as they face the Kudus. It's never a foregone conclusion. You're always going to have to scrape and fight for your win. Now, with the Dolphins, like I said, they're fresh, and last week they had a big loss, but that could also be on their head.
Exactly. They would be looking to redeem themselves and to prove that they deserve to be there. You know?
Absolutely. That's key. Let's have a look at the standings just prior to this game, just to see how the teams are stacked up on the log. So UNAM is at the top. Okay, first of all, every team has played 3 games, save for FNB Rehoboth, FNB Rio Falcon, and Western Suburbs. So just keep that in mind. But look at the points tally. FNB UNAM with 16 points. 2 points behind them is Grootfontein with 14 points. The Wanderers are just behind Grootfontein with 10 points, a 4-point difference over there. FNB Kudus and Wanderers both sitting on 10 points. FNB Rehoboth is on 6 points. Rio Falcon on 5 points. They'll be looking to improve that against Wanderers today. Trusco United with 2 points, and Western Suburbs with a singular point, hoping to improve on that. So this is how the log looks. FNB UNAM, some strong outings thus far. That's 3-0. That's 3 win. And one of those wins was against the reigning champions. UNAM is looking strong.
UNAM is looking very strong, and we keep preaching this to say, once you've tasted the top of the log, you are not going to want to slip.
No, you're not.
You are not going to want to slip.
Absolutely.
You're going to do everything in your power to make sure you maintain, because again, once you let go of that grasp, everyone else is going to now basically be playing even harder to make sure that, you know, they also maintain and actually overtake you and make sure you don't come back up.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're looking at these games, you know, some teams with the game in hand, that's an opportunity to really create some kind of advantage. But you want to ask now, having that game in hand, was that extra rest, or could that have contributed to, you know, some rusty play? And we'll be able to see that today. And maybe that's the little worry that Rio Falcon could have as they face off against Wanderers. Wanderers was not happy to lose to UNAM at the beginning of the season, and it's been showing in their other results. They are not taking anything for granted, and we absolutely expect the best from them today.
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely going to be high impact. We're going to see a lot of action.
Yes, and there's no fatigue to speak of. Really, I think if you're saying Rehoboth to Windhoek, it's a short enough distance. We've got a lot of workmates that you know, go to and from every single day, so I don't think that's going to be the difference. But you know, something about Wanderers just reminds me, and of course Wanderers has got many more years, many more titles, but you know, just I'd like to cross-reference them with Ongos FC, just in the management system. You know, one of those things where it seems like the only mistakes that can be made can only be made on the field. And that is a huge foundation for players when they're entering a rugby atmosphere or, you know, a rugby club. You want to know that everything is in place, and ultimately that allows you to be able to commit to your job in that moment. And so it's Wanderers who have some wonderful management. Rio Falcon certainly doing their best to establish themselves in such a manner. But Wanderers carries a particular aura. There's
Of
this
course.
vibe, there's this energy.
The energy
They
is,
feel, they look like winners.
and it's definitely threatening.
Yes,
to be
absolutely.
honest.
I mean, it's not. I mean, threatening could be a misnomer because it feels like they feel dominant.
Yes.
They expect to beat you.
I'm pretty sure it's definitely that confidence. They know what they can do. They know how they perform.
But here's the thing about Rio Falcon: the pace is incredible, and in rugby, as you know, if you're dealing with pace, there's nothing you can do about a guy that can run away from you. You can try your best. You know what I mean?
Ultimately,
it's a bit of a tough situation. So if Rio Falcon can make use of that pace, but in a way that doesn't, allow the technical aspects of the game to fall apart, as we have seen in previous seasons, I think they could really make an impact at Wanderers. And the Rehoboth guys, they really, because they know what their home support is like, but they also want to beat you where you are. They couldn't care less about who's singing the loudest, in what language, wearing what shirt, what colors. That's not going to affect them.
and I feel like, honestly speaking, it's also another thing that could come into play is wanting to embarrass you on home ground.
Oh yes, that's essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when you're playing rugby, it's a very physical sport, and it has very defined winners. You can tell who the winner is, and we take pride in that. And of course, to go into someone's home, they're expecting to beat you. They have that support. It's a wonderful feeling. Just ask how Atlanta felt when they played against Liverpool. So these are the games. These are the games that are happening throughout the day. As we said, Wanderers and Rehoboth Falcon, we're going to be showing you that game in plus minus 20 minutes. Dolphins are taking on Kudu's beautiful coastal weather. Will it translate to the rugby ground? Well, there'll be no love lost between those two neighbors. Rehoboth won. They went to Grootfontein, very close to securing a win. Grootfontein managing to scrape through in the last few minutes, but now they are facing UNAM. UNAM traveling to Rehoboth. UNAM has been dominant. They haven't just won their games, they've won their games emphatically. Their last game with over 40 points on the board. So that is something to worry about without a doubt. Western Suburbs and United seemingly equally yoked. But United will always do its best to showcase its caliber, its standard, and Western Suburbs will not allow that. I mean, they will not allow that to be a smooth transition whatsoever. It is Western Suburbs. They are very well at home, and we're going to see how that one transpires as well.
I'm curious to see what the scoreboard is actually going to look like.
I mean, we had some heavy scoring games last week. I mean, we are talking about 40 points, 46 points. Let's just have a look again at the results from last week, just so we can see how these teams were scoring. I mean, you're talking about the UNAM game versus Dolphins. It makes me wonder how Dolphins is going to play UNAM later in the season, because that's a score that you want to forget. You want to forget over 40 points. But then you look at Grootfontein versus Rehoboth, 16-8. Small margins.
Exactly, that's the thing. We're either getting the small margins or like the really
huge. I mean, look at that. UNAM 46-0 and Wanderers 44-7 against Western Suburbs. So Western Suburbs are really hoping for a better weekend. United only managed to put up 8 points against Kudus. One can argue whether United faced a tougher opponent last week. Does not seem like it. Western Suburbs were facing Wanderers, and Wanderers are certainly, without a doubt, the cream of the crop. So it's going to be a bit of a decider with regards to figuring out their form for United and Western Suburbs. But for teams like UNAM and Wanderers, it's hard to not expect them to dominate. It's hard to not expect them to get those extra points with regards to the tries scored, and it's hard for them to ever be counted out. They've proven their pedigree, and season after season, occasionally it comes down to those two teams. Sometimes you might have a visitor. The Kudus have certainly been that visitor occasionally, but usually comes down to UNAM and Wanderers. So we're going to see how those two teams do respectively. UNAM is going to Rehoboth. Like I said, in Rehoboth, their home ground advantage matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel it. They love rugby.
I mean, but is there really such a thing as home ground advantage?
Now, it depends on the town that you're in.
Okay.
Now, if you're in Rehoboth, you see, Diana, we come from the same town. There's a difference between me playing somewhere where people don't know me and me knowing that Diana might make fun of me later.
So
you know what I mean?
come with the action.
Yeah,
you come with
maybe you see
everything
your
that
child
you need.
over there. You see your old school friends. It's just got that extra, spiritual chemistry. I don't know what else to call it, but it adds to the vibes.
It adds to the
a little bit
vibes.
of a Gen Z reference over there. So let's look again at the game that we are about to cross over. Like we said, it is Wanderers at home playing against FMB Rio Falcon live on NTV. Do make sure you check it out. oneup2.com, DSTV 285, GoTV 25 is precisely where you can find the game. Let's cross over to rugby.